Hi, let's solve today's daily LeetCode challenge, that is minimum window substring. So in this question, we are given two strings S and T of length M and N, and we need to return the minimum window substring of S such that every character in T, including duplicates, is included in the window. And if there is no such substring, we need to return an empty string, and the test cases will be generated such that the answer is unique, right? So let's understand what the question is. So we are given this string, right, and we are given this another string. So what I need to find is what is the minimum window substring of S. So what does that mean? That basically means all the characters I have in T, right? The order does not matter, but I need to find a substring in S where all of these characters are present, and I have to find the minimum substring. All right. So in this case, you can see that there are different strings, various strings where A, B, C all are present. For example, if I start from here, I can see okay, let me write this on the screen. All right, so we are given these. So I can see that if I start from here, right, so I have A and then I have to find another B and then C. So I can see that this string contains ABC. Now if you see the length of this is, it is 3 plus 3, that is 6, right? Now I can get this again, right? Where can I get this? If I simply take this string, right, that is B code BA, right? Here B, C and A, all three characters are present that are inside of T. So this is also an answer, but it is not minimum length, right? It is more than 6 length, so we will not consider it. And similarly, you can find number of different substrings, but the catch is here, if you see this particular string, right, this is the minimum substring window here. So here we have to simply return this. So this is the smallest substring in S, which contains all the letters that are present inside of T. So I hope you have understood what the problem is. Now let us see how we are going to solve it, right? So brute force approach would be to generate all substrings and then check among them which is the smallest substring where all these characters are present. Now to optimize it, obviously generating all the substring, it will be exponential. So we can optimize it by using sliding window here, right? And the sliding window that we are going to use will be of variable length, right? Because the substrings length can vary, and among them, among these variable sized windows, I need to return the minimum window substring, right? So now I hope you are you kind of get the gist of what approach we are following. So in sliding window, we already know what we do, right? So usually what happens is we try to traverse in windows, right? So let's say this is a one window I consider, then let's say this is the next window I consider, and similarly we keep going on, and based on some conditions we consider these windows, right? So how is this approach going to help us? So let's see. So what we will do, we will declare two variables I and j here, right? They will initially be at 0 index, and here to have a count of these ABC, right? And here, because duplicates are also present, so the best thing to do is to take a map, right? So we'll take a map in which we will keep all these characters that are present inside of T. So here A is present one time, B is present one time, and C is present one time. So first we will create this map and then we will start iterating. So first we have to find the window, right? So we will increment our J pointer when we hit the window. And when do we hit the window? When all the elements inside of this map becomes 0, right? So right now I have A as 1. So as soon as I make an iteration, I check if MP of S of J, right, if it is inside of the map, so I'll decrement its frequency. So what I'll do, I will decrement it to 0, and then we will move to D. So since D is not present, so we'll again move to O, and then we will come to B, right? So we are only increasing J pointer. So J pointer is incremented, J pointer is incremented. So now we are at B. So we will decrease the frequency of B, and then we will come at E and then C, right? So for C again, we will decrement the frequency. So now my J pointer is here. So now another thing to notice here is that the map size is 3 here, right? But we want to know that we have consumed all the elements. So instead of iterating in the map, it's a good idea to first take the size of the map somewhere. So let's say we take it inside of a count variable. So I have 3. So as soon as after I decrement the frequency of a character, I will simply check. As soon as it hits 0, right, I will decrease this to 2, then 1, and then 0, right? So this way I will be able to know that I have consumed all of these, right? But they should exist inside of the map, right? So this is basically how we can know we have consumed everything inside of the map. So as soon as this comes true, right, so we will check if our count has become 0, right? If our count has become 0, that means we have hit the window, and now we have to start shifting the window, that is cutting elements from the starting, right? That is incrementing I pointer based on some condition. Now what is that condition? So we basically have to keep removing the characters, right? Moving the I pointer ahead unless and until any of the frequency inside of the map becomes more than 0, right? Or the count of the map, that is the elements to consume, becomes more than 0. So that is up till where I have to keep iterating for I, right? Incrementing this I pointer. So what I will do, for here I can see that A is here, so I will remove this and increment my I pointer. Now what will happen is inside of my map, A will become 1 and the map size will become 1 again, right? So CNT will become 1 again. Now what I have to do, now I will consider another window. So now this is my window, but here A is not present. So what I have to do, again I will have to increment my J pointer. So I'll keep incrementing until I find another A. So I find another A here, correct? So this is up to which I will increment the J pointer. So this is another window that I will hit, right? Now the catch is, as soon as the count becomes 0, right, whenever it becomes 0, I have to take that condition and save the value of the substring, right? Or we can save the length of the substring in this case, right? Because if we try to calculate the substring out of this s, then that will also add a time complexity. So instead of that, in the end we can calculate, but for now we can take two variables, that is the start. So start is basically to denote the start index of the minimum size substring, and we will take min x variable, which will tell us what is the length of the minimum size substring, right? So in the first case I hit ADOBEC, right? So its length was 6. So I'll store it inside of minix, and after I keep iterating, I will check if any substring length, right? That is, I will check if j minus I is less than minx in any case, then I have to update minx to that j minus I, and also take the start index as I, because I is the starting point of my substring, right? So this way we'll keep moving the I pointer and j pointer, and there will be a moment where the j pointer will be here and the I pointer will be here, and this will give us minimum window, which is of length 4, right? So this we will store inside of our minix, and after that we can simply calculate an answer as substring of s, which starts from ith index, so which is basically stored inside of start, and of length minix, right? So with this I can calculate the answer. Now in case my minix is equal to int max, right, then we can simply return an empty string, right? That is also being told to us in the question, that if there is no such substring, we have to return an empty string. So I hope you have understood what the approach is. Now let us quickly code this out. So first I'll take my int ans, this is the answer string, and then I'll take three variables here, which is I and j equal to 0. So I and j, So I basically is the index to denote the start of a substring, and j the end of the substring. So that is the start of the window, the end of the window, and they initially are at the 0th index. And then I have to take this minx variable in which I will be initializing to int max, because here I will be storing my minimum length, right? So then now I have to first make my map, right? So map is going to be character comma int mp. Now for c in t, I can simply do mp of c plus plus. So now my map has been created, and also we have to take two another variables. That is, the first variable will be for having the size of the map, right? As we saw, the size of the map is also important, because even though we have consumed all the elements, the map size, if we try to access the map size, it will still be 3, right? So to avoid such a case, we can simply declare a variable that is cnt, and we will have all these values inside of the map, because we need these values for next iterations, right? So now let us take the cnt, which will be equal to mp dot size, as well as the start index of the array of the substring, right? And now I will write the logic for sliding window. So j is less than s dot size. Now, as I said, what we have to do, we have to check for all these a b c values, right? That is, we have to consume the map and consume all the values inside of the map, and as soon as we do that, we have to increment the j pointer, and that is when we hit the end of that window, right, for that current window. So we have to basically check if mp dot find s of j, right? We will be finding s of j. If it is not equal to mp dot end, that means we have found this value, that is s of j is present inside of the map. Then I will decrement its frequency. After this, I have, as I said, if its frequency becomes 0 after this, after we decrement it, then we have to decrease the count as well. So we will simply put a condition that if mp of j is equal 0, then we have to decrement the count of the elements present inside of the map. Then after this, we can simply increment my j pointer. Now when what is the condition when we will hit the window size? So that condition is when count becomes 0. So I will be again iterating until the count is 0 and removing the characters from the start of the substring, right? So that is incrementing my I pointer, and that I have to do until my count is not 0, right? So I'll write the logic for that. So if my count is 0, right? Sorry, this will be cnt, right? If this is 0, what I have to do, I have to check. First of all, I have to save the value, because I have hit the window size and I need to know the value of this window, right? The length of this window, and what is the start index of this window. So I will simply check the condition that if minx is greater than j minus I, that is, j minus I is the current window size, and whatever is the minimum value that we had from previous iteration or previous substring, we have to check if j minus I, current substring length, is less than minx. So that means this is lesser than the previous minx, so we have to save it. So we'll say minx is equal to j minus I, and we will also store the start index, which is nothing but I. And after this, as I said, we have to remove characters from the beginning of this substring, right? So what is the logic for that? I have to simply find if we have to keep removing until and unless this count is not increased, that is, the map does not contain any value, right? So then we have to go and consume it, correct? So now what I will do, I will say if mp dot find s of I, right, if it is inside of the map, that means, so as we saw that after this, right, we incremented the I pointer, correct? So we are now iterating in the substring DOBECO. So C, up to this we had the J, right? Now we will start finding an A, right? So this will be the substring that we will find. So for that we have to get this A, right? So as soon as I find this S of I, right, that is, if it is present inside of the map, then I have to increment its frequency as well as increment the count to be used for the next iterations, right? So that means I have hit another window, and then I will increment the J pointer, right? So the J pointer was here, and this was the substring after removing A here from here, right? So now I have to find another A, so I need to increment my J pointer, right? So because that is the end of the window. So I hope you are understanding. So here, if we find this S of I, that is, let's say in this case we are trying to find A, right? So we will increment its frequency as well as the count. That means now I need values to be consumed, so I will again fall under this condition. Now here we have to first do MP of S of I plus plus, and if this value is already inside of the map, that is this, we have to increment the count as well, right? That is, now this element is present to be consumed, so I have to increment that. Okay, now I have an element inside of the map that needs to be consumed, so I have to increase my count as well. So after this I can simply increment my I pointer. Then after this I can safely say that minix will be containing length of the minimum window substring, and start will be the starting index. So here after this while loop that is present here, right? So first is that there can be a condition where we don't find an answer, so we have to check for that. So we have to check if minix is not equal to int max, right? So if minix is not equal to int max, then we will update our answer. So answer will become s dot substr of minix comma start, right? And after this we can simply return ans. So this is basically how we have to implement it. So let's quickly run it. Okay, it's giving us wrong answer. So let's see where we went wrong. Okay, so we basically made the mistake here because the substr function takes the start index and the length of the string, right? So it is supposed to be start and it is supposed to be minix, right? Now let us run the code. So it's accepted. So this is basically how you have to solve this question.